Okay. All right, so I am back. But what I'm going to do is you have to realize this is A&E. This footage does belong to them. So of course, YouTube is very strict about that. It depends on the network. Some of these networks, they actually don't mind if you use their material because they want the exposure. But you have other networks who, like A&E, they don't want you using their material. All they have to do really is let you use the material, but just don't let you get monetized for it. So this is what's going on. I'm just going to not use the audio because I done already watched the episode. So I'm just going to explain to y'all what's going on as it's happening. So we done already saw this part where the camera crew pretty much, talks to the convict clown and he comes back. So basically the convict clown starts getting into it with another inmate. Another inmate starts checking them out because, believe it or not, other inmates don't like the convict clown. So it's not only just the undercover inmate who's getting frustrated with the convict clown. You got other inmates who also don't find him funny, who also don't find him that entertaining. So of course it's going to be other inmates that's going to say something to him. So now it's another inmate that's getting frustrated with the convict clown. Like I said, everybody has their payday. So basically, like the inmate said here, I'm not going to let it go. He's coming for me. Now I got to come after him. And as an inmate, you cannot let another inmate get away with disrespecting you and no kind of harm. So like I said, right here, this is where they are playing the card game. When it comes to playing the card game, most of the time, these inmates, they are gambling. This is one of the frustrating parts about being a correctional officer, is that when these inmates gamble, it puts the part at risk because the truth is some of these inmates, they don't like to pay their debts off. So when they don't pay their debts off, this is what creates fights, unfortunately. And that is the only bad part about dealing with inmates when they are gambling. They have to pay them debts off. If not, they are signing themselves up, you know what I mean, to get handled. So yeah, Nora, what I had to do was I had to just remove the audio. This is A&E's property. That is their footage. So I don't know why all they will have to do is just demonetize the video. I just don't get paid for it. So nevertheless, this will be an advantage for him. I mean, an advantage for the network because I'm actually promoting their content. But for whatever reason, that's just how they do stuff. So I'm just not going to play the audio. I am just going to show the footage. You get what I'm saying? It's good when people see through these clowns and narcissists. Kind of prevents anyone being ganged up on. Yeah, so what it is, the convict clown, what they don't understand is everybody don't like you. It's other inmates that are catching on to what you're doing. It's other inmates, that are getting aggravated with seeing you being a shit starter. You got to realize these guys are locked up behind these walls 24 hours a day. Everything starts to aggravate you. Yeah, it's all good, Nora. They got to protect their property, so I ain't mad at them. Ain't like I'm getting any money off of it. But yeah, I'm not gonna play the audio so I can eliminate that. But yeah, so this is what's going on. So now another inmate, him and another inmate is clashing. Man, Drip, shut the F up. That's what the other inmate is saying. Now, so they're going back and forth like children. So now another inmate is calling him out. Like, man, shut up. You always doing the most. Yeah, I'm just doing it without the audio, Paul. So I'm going to narrate it because I already know the whole episode. I done watched it anyway. So the dude here is like, man, you crazy as hell. Every day it's always something with you, bruh. You always, provoking stuff, running your mouth. Just shut the F up. I've been up in there 3 hours. I don't give a F. Now I don't give a damn. So they going back and forth. Why you trying to act like you hard? So they going back and forth. And of course the convict clown. Okay, so he's getting into it with Lambo. You know, the other inmate. So like I said, everybody in here gets a turn. You can never play it safe. It don't matter how much you keep to yourself. You're going to get into it with somebody. Somebody's going to try you. You're going to end up trying somebody. This is what happens when you become an inmate, which is why I don't recommend getting yourself in any type of situations in which you got to be housed with these type of individuals, because it's very frustrating. These grown men are like little girls. I've seen them be petty. I've seen grown men pick fights with other grown men. Everybody doesn't want to do their time peacefully. That's just the truth of the matter. What's up, King Ball? I was up earlier, but of course YouTube came in and evicted my video because I was using A&E show 60 days in with the audio, and of course it wasn't my property, it wasn't my footage, so they stopped the stream. So you know, YouTube is being very, very picky, and they're not allowing you to use other people's material. So I'm not feeling any type of way about it. It's all good. I knew I was taking a chance anyway. But this is what goes on, and me being a former correctional officer, I've had to deal with this day in and day out, where you got some people who are just miserable. They don't want to do their time peacefully. Read a book, go shoot some hoops, find a way to do your time peacefully without always provoking fights with other inmates. But this is the type of dudes you got to live with. So as you can see with the subtitles, they going back and forth. Of course, the convict clown, nigga, you ain't gonna do nothing. You a bitch. And listen, whenever inmate calls another inmate a B word, those are fighting words right there. Okay, you never want to use the B word, and you never want to use the G word, the GAY or the FAG. What's up, J Dub? Welcome back. I had to redo it, but I just got to leave the audio out so they don't bother me. So now, like this inmate here, who is the undercover inmate, he's saying the convict clown because he loves to be the clown. You just keep stirring the pot. You stirring the pot. You making inmates. You tried to make the convict clown tried to make him the target, but now the convict clown has made himself the target. Now he's beefing with another inmate. Bro, I'm getting ready to punch you. Now I'm getting ready to beat you. You know what? So they're going back and forth. Man, we can go right now. So the convict clown is finding out everybody ain't scared of you. People can see right through you. People can see you insecure, even though you're the convict clown. It's inmates who can tell you're an insecure, scared little boy underneath your comedy act, bro. And see, in this type of environment, it's easy for tempers to flare. So you got the convict clown and the other inmate in the shower getting ready to duke it out or whatever. You know, they may duke it out. They may not duke it out. At this point, tantrums are flaring. It's already a hostile environment. So like I said, in this type of environment, anything goes. Keep in mind, this is the part that pisses me off. If y'all been noticing, there's no officers around. And this is the very reason I can tell the inmates, they are running this pod. Where the hell is the officers? I don't see one officer. Where are the officers? Where the goddamn officers at? Are they having a donut? Are they drinking coffee? This some fracking bull. Ain't no damn officer. The inmates are running the doggone pod. So the bathroom is usually, I guess, each pod has their own spots where they fight, where they where they have relations. Every pod has their own spot in which they do what they do. So in this particular pod, the shower is the fighting spot. And let me tell you why a lot of inmates use the showers, because there's no cameras allowed in the shower. The shower is the shower is basically a dead end. Any and everything goes in the shower. It's been inmates who've been shanked in the shower. It's been inmates who've been raped in the shower. It's been inmates who voluntarily had sex in the showers, because by law you cannot have any cameras there. So unfortunately, anything goes, and most of the time officers are not allowed to go in the showers where inmates are able to freely undress, take their clothes off or whatever. Officers are not allowed in the showers. So that's where all the action happens, y'all. A lot of bodies, dead bodies, shank bodies have been found in the showers. A lot of rape goes down in the showers because the inmates are smart. They know there's no cameras there. There's no way you can prove something actually happened. So that's why, you know what I mean, they doing what they do, what it is, and I'm going to discuss that. A lot of these jails, they are outnumbered. They don't have enough staff. That's the issue. They probably may assign one officer to one pod. Because I remember when I was working at the county jail, I was assigned to supervise every bit from 40 to 65 inmates at one time. And I'm not exaggerating. I had to be over a full house. I was over 65 grown men at one time. Now, every pod is different. This pod here is called the open pod. I never liked working open dorms as an officer. I don't like open dorms. Now, you have what's called open dorms like this one, where it's set up like a training camp, where it's bunk beds. Inmates are able to roam around freely. I don't like open bay because it gives the inmates too much access to do what they want to do. This is how contraband is constantly getting passed around. This is how drugs. I don't like open bay. Okay, the only good part I would say about open bay is that everything is out in the open. If you are an officer doing your job and coming in and doing your security checks, you'll be able to see everything directly up close and personal in your face. This is not a big dorm. If there was at least 2 officers in here, a lot of the stuff these inmates are doing, they wouldn't get away with doing if it was at least 2 officers assigned. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of these jails don't keep enough officers to even assign barely one of them to a dorm. It should at least be 1 officer in here. You know what I mean? Now, every jail is different. You have some jails with an officer just specifically monitor inmate activity from cameras. That's not always good, and it's actually lazy when you have officers who are only supervising inmates from a camera, because by the time you get down there and say if you see a fight or something going on from the camera, depending on how far you are, that inmate possibly could end up already dead. They might have just shanked the hell out of them. All it takes is 1 minute, 2 minutes for an inmate to get shanked. By the time you respond, it's over. Where I worked at, there wasn't so much you could just watch cameras. I had to walk around these guys. I had to walk up and down, all around through the dorm. I had to put in footwork. I couldn't just sit on my behind and just watch from the camera. And these inmates know there's not no officer presence there, which gives them the room to do the stuff they doing. No one's there to protect the inmates. So evidently the fight didn't go down. It was just bluffing, I guess. But the truth of the matter is, now the heat is off for the undercover inmate because another inmate started going after the convict clown. So for the undercover inmate, he gets a little relief. As you can see, this is the other thing that goes on in the jails. Some of these inmates stay up all night. I cannot tell y'all how many times I had to deal with these young inmates up 2, 3, 4 in the morning, beating on the doors, making beats, loud, not having no respect for the other inmates that are resting, trying to get some sleep. You know, it's very frustrating. Let me know if y'all can hear me, y'all. Just want to make sure they ain't in my stream again. Just want to make sure. So yeah, this is what goes on. If you work inside these facilities, a lot of these inmates, they don't want to sleep. And you got to realize, because a lot of them are used to being in the streets, they're used to being out all time of night. So they don't have a sleeping pattern. Okay, I just want to make sure things came. They don't have a sleeping pattern. As an officer, I used to work night shift, and I had to deal with this. I had to deal with dudes banging on the doors, making beats, rapping out loud. And the other issue I had to deal with was, you got inmates who like to jack off. For those who don't understand what jack off means you got these inmates that like to come to the window, pull their dicks out, and stroke up and down stroke up and down with their hand in an up and down motion, and jack off on you as a female officer. A lot of them know you got to walk around and do your security checks, do your rounds. They know it. And they intentionally wait for you to get up and do a security check, and they jack and they will pull out their dicks and jack off on you. Now, every facility is different on how they deal with these type of situations. So basically, whenever I had an officer, whenever I had an offender, it didn't happen a lot, because for the most part, most of the guys respected me. But you have to realize, when you're dealing with these young dudes, these young thugs, they don't have no respect for authority. And they definitely don't have respect from females. So the way I dealt with officers, I keep saying officers, offenders jacking off on me. One, you got to give them your commands. It's very important that you give them your commands so the camera catches it, and that way you can put all of that in the report when you write them up. So whenever I had an inmate who pulled out his dick and jacked off on me, I would give him my commands. Mr. Johnson, I'm advising you, I am ordering you, and I am instructing you to stop stroking your penis in an up and down motion. You have to verbalize those words so the camera catches it. That way they can't lie and say they didn't jack off on you. So it's very interesting what goes on at night, but I preferred being a night officer instead of daytime, because daytime, too much stuff be going on, and at least at night, most of the time, they're sleeping. But in an open part like this, I don't know what kind of jail this is. There's no officer that's there seeing what seeing what these inmates are doing. They're doing what they want to do. So everybody's laying down now. Here comes an officer, finally, the next day. Now, it's only one officer. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of these jails, they do not have enough of officers. They don't have enough for officers because officers are quitting. The shifts are ridiculous. You're pushing 16 hours a day. Not only that, you got to constantly stay over. Not only that, you have mandated overtime. It's a lot that goes on as an officer. Now, as you can see, this gentleman here, he's a pod bully. He thinks that he runs the unit because he's a big buff dude. And a lot of these inmates, they think because they're big and they buff, they automatically think they could threaten you as an officer or intimidate you as an officer by their size. And if you show any weakness or any intimidation as an officer, the inmates are going to run all over you. You know, so here it is. Now you got this officer that's a male officer. He's a grown man. You would think that the inmates would respect his authority and respect his masculinity. But we'll see. None of that is going to happen. So, first of all, That's a big problem. Let me tell you about this. Tell y'all why this is an issue. First of all, no inmate should be this close to you as an officer. That's a big no. This dude can grab this officer, pick him up, and slam him. Look how close he is. Now, the one thing I was trained on is you never let an inmate close in your personal space like that. I didn't tolerate that. I ain't never let none of these inmates come that close up on me. So this already shows you the lack of respect this inmate has for this officer. He knows better than that. I can tell this dude been in and out of prison since he been a newborn. He knows he has no business being close up on this officer like this. Okay? But because he's a bully and because he has no respect for authority and his officer ain't putting him in his place, he's comfortable enough to get up on this grown man. And that's a no-no. If you're going to be a correctional officer, you never let an inmate this close up in your space. This is this is a safety hazard. Daryl says, I applied for a job at my local DOC years ago. I decided it wasn't for me. I didn't even go to the interview. Daryl, I'm glad you shared that with me because this is the part that a lot of these jails, they don't tell you. And everybody, if y'all haven't been keeping up, these jails are very desperate. If you use social media, you're seeing all of these jails, they are advertising how bad they are in dire need of officers. All of these prisons are short-staffed. These county jails are short-staffed because everybody does not have the temperament for this type of career. And I'm glad you realized that the moment you applied, Daryl. I was a JTO, a jail training officer. So I had officers, rookies assigned to me in which I can train them, in which I was certified to train them. I had a lot of them quit within a week. I've had some quit within a day because this job ain't for everybody. If this is something you're going into for money, you're not going to last because for one, you don't get paid a lot. And for two, the stress level outweighs the pay. So just take a note of this. This is a no-no. That's why I don't like open bays. And that's what I'm going to tell y'all. That the difference between an open bay and a closed bay dorm, the inmates are behind a cell. They are locked down, 2 per cell. I like closed bay better than open bay. Also, when you serve trays and or the nurses got to administer the medicine, I like closed bay because you actually go to the door. You got more control over the inmates when they are in a closed bay, meaning each inmate is behind a door and they can only come out during rec time or only come out when they're getting transported to a prison or transported to another unit. I don't like open bays because of BS like this. And yes, I have worked open bays, but I've never allowed inmates to get this close to me. We need this boy to get the F out of here. I just had to ask. He already old as F. So look how he's intimidating this officer. This officer looks scared, like he's getting ready to go to the bathroom on himself. But Daryl, and it's funny you mention that because that's actually, I'm trying to get my class B. Yes, I would recommend getting a CDL before becoming a correctional officer. I'd rather drive a bus than to deal with this mess here. Now, look at the demeanor of the officer. This inmate knows he has this officer afraid and intimidated and scared of him. What good is being an authority when you don't even know how to use it? And the officers like this, they make it hard for other officers to do their job. Because if you got scared and timid officers like this, that means inmates know they can get away with throwing piss on you, throwing doodle on you. In the worst case scenario, shank you or kill you, and nobody has your back. This is an officer you know who's not going to have your back. He could walk in on a dorm and see a officer getting jumped, getting attacked. He ain't going to do nothing but call for backup. Listen, every officer that's an officer is not really an officer. They are scared of inmates. They are intimidated. They got the badge. They got the mace spray, and they scared as hell. If you are a scary individual, you do not need to be an officer. Now watch how he handles them. He's talking to him all kind of way, disrespecting him. Other inmates pushing him up to disrespect him. Now look what he just said. Look what he just said. Let me play that back. Like I said, the other inmates are provoking him. That's the part I was trying to get to. He already old. They calling him old. They pointing out his weaknesses, saying you old, you can't do shit, you ain't built to handle us. Look how they making a mockery out of him. And look, he's walking away. Go figure. The inmate is telling him what to do. Get out of here and stay away. In what world? And see, that's why they have these undercover inmates, because he's going to tell them at the end of his course here, your officers ain't shit. Your officers are garbage. The inmate told him to get the hell out of here. And he's leaving. How you an officer and you scared of the damn inmates? Wow. And he's leaving. We'll pimp you later, bitch. They done set up there and call the officer a bitch and all of that. The officer did not have to get in physical conflict, but what he should have did was address him. As an officer, if the inmate don't respect you, what good is your authority? I've been called out my name, but I made sure I nipped it in the bud. If you allow that kind of disrespect as an officer, the inmates will run all over you. You're no good to your agency. This officer is dead weight. He's a disgrace. But at the same time, he's outnumbered. And let me tell you something. A lot of these jails, they are too cheap to put 2 officers in one unit. They too cheap. They don't want to pay the extra money. They don't want to invest and putting in extra equipment where officers can protect themselves a lot more. So not only that, for one, they can't put 2 officers in the same pod because there's not enough officers to go around. A lot of officers are quitting, suffering from burnout, because these jails will kill you. You will never have no days off. I rarely had days off. My first month being an officer, I only had 2 days off within that whole month. And when you are a rookie, that is when they pimp you out the most, when you are a rookie. They give you the most hours. They give you the worst shifts, while all the upper staff and above, they get to sit on their behind and watch you do the footwork. Paul says they are desperate for COs in the UK. Adverts, constantly online papers. Yeah, it's all over. It's all over, Pod. The inmates are laughing at the officer who just got punked. And like this participant here says that he's going to end up saying, because I know y'all can't hear the audio. That's why I'm letting y'all know what's going on. I can't play the audio. He's saying that the inmates, they run this prison. They run this jail. And he's absolutely right. They don't run anything. The officer is leaving. Like, I'm not dealing with this. They ain't putting up in my paycheck for me to deal with all this foolishness. The officer is leaving. And he's most likely he's leaving because, for one, he's outnumbered. If he get too far out of hand, he's outnumbered. They could attack him. They can harm him. They could beat him down. Doesn't like us enough staff to come to his aid. If he was to get out of line, it's really messed up. A lot of these jails, they do not have enough of officers. And the inmates are smart. The inmates know it, and that's why they take over the jails. So he's leaving because he don't want no smoke. And all the inmates know they got the upper hand. They got the power. So now the undercover inmate here is calling his wife, letting her know what's going on. Like, man, it's crazy in here. Ain't enough officers, no COs supervising his pod. I worry for my safety because there's nobody here monitoring what's going on. You know, I don't feel safe here. There's no supervision, none whatsoever. So you got to tread lightly because there's no officer presence. You got inmates around here that's bullying officers. Got officers scared to come in the dorm to check and see what's going on. There are 2 bus drivers I work with used to be COs. One was fired and the other quit because he was tired of working there. Oh, yeah. Yep. These facilities, they can't keep enough officers. The officers are either getting fired because they're getting sloppy on the job because they're tired, and that's pretty much the end of that. So yeah, you have a lot of officers that are tired. They are exhausted. They're suffering from burnout. Not only that, the staff is more corrupt than the inmates. You got a lot of officers that are throwing other officers under the bus. You got other officers who don't like officers. So anytime you challenge another officer, especially if that officer is in an alliance or he's part of the buddy pack, he can get you removed and make your job hard for you. So I would say corrections really should be called corruptions because it's a very corrupt field. It's a lot that you up against, but I'm going to be doing a couple of series here and there. I'm not going to do a lot. I'm talking about inmate intimidation and manipulation. It's imperative that anybody who's going into corrections, they understand how corrections work, understand what they're signing up for, understand the psyche of these inmates and how these inmates mentally try to overpower you, how they physically try to overpower you. Especially being a female officer, we the ones that get tried the most. If you are attention seeking, if you like attention from men, if you are lonely, if you are horny, I don't advise you to get into this type of profession because these men will mentally infiltrate you and get in your head if you are lonely. We've seen it happen with Vicky White. Somebody mentioned it. I think it was Nora who mentioned it on the last on my first upload. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to go and shut it down. I just want to share this with y'all. I know it's Labor Day. I got to go ahead and get my food on the grill. Got to make my macaroni and cheese and all of that. So I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the day. May y'all enjoy y'all Labor Day. Be blessed, ladies. I'm going to be uploading content soon on my Mocha's Ladies Lounge, so be on the lookout for that. Again, I appreciate each and every one of y'all being loyal subscribers. I appreciate y'all so much for still hanging in there with me, still being subscribed to my channel. So again, y'all, until next time, y'all be blessed and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.